bad words.
They bleep them out.
The bailiff covers my ears.
Yeah.
Guys, we're live. Spoiler alert, we are live.
We are live? Well, but everybody knows that good Christians, God plugs their ears whenever they hear curse words. If you hear curse words, then you're going to hell.
Yep.
That's one of the weird things about being in a court case. Like if they have to read a statement of somebody or like a whatever. Imagine in this like the most buttoned down environment ever. Like, lawyers and judges and all these legal proceedings and whatever, and they have to read like text messages that are like, I want to fuck your butt or whatever. Because if it's in evidence, then it's all part of this, whatever. You have to read it to the jury. So imagine just like this man in a 3-piece suit, grease.
Well, that's how the case went. The guy that got murdered in Mesa. I cannot remember the names, but they had to play like an audio recording of them having sex.
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
that's the thing.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah. So that's one of the. How can you, as a professional? But whatever. It's a strange thing, you guys. So now, I don't know. I usually let people trickle in, but we went from 4 to 1.
They heard me talk about the curse words because they heard me call him not a good Christian.
Yeah, that's a lot of our viewers are Christians. So if you slam them, they are gone.
It's a lot of our viewership.
Oh well.
Slam jam. Thank you, ma'am.
I got my notes here.
Shouldn't we do the intro?
Yeah, this is all just Here's Kayla. The video started.
Here, I got music.
15 seconds. What's up with the latency? It's plugged in and everything. I got this thing jacked in, hardwired to the wall.
Plugged it straight into the outlet.
Yeah.
That's where the internet goes.
Come out, internet, I said to it, and here we are.
Yelling into the socket.
Yelling myself hoarse. Okay.
Just crying on the other side of the room.
Yeah. No, not now. I'm busy.
Put the boy back in the cage and get to the computer. I need to hear the
troubleshooting.
boner. 3 YouTube said it wouldn't start until what? So here, that's another thing. So Kayla's bringing up some points. I had to kill and bring back the stream a bunch of times because it wouldn't recognize my camera, and every time I tried to reinitiate it, it would think that I wanted to use like OBS or something. So it's annoying. Computers, why can't you just like work? It's the future.
Haven't we figured it all out yet?
Yeah. Isn't everybody a genius and nobody's a fucking idiot? Where's my brain pills?
So here's also full disclosure. I was also hoping there'd be more people to explain this to, but I'll be probably exclusively ignoring chat.
Exclusively?
Mm-hmm,
Spitefully.
Like for a regular live stream, I can bullshit and there can be awkward silence, but for like this is going to be a show, guys. You're going to be ignored to the nth degree, so that it'll be as close to the original product as possible.
Yeah, you're our live studio audience, and we do not interact with you.
And you have to be very quiet.
It's like the Cosby Show studio audience, except I haven't given any of you special drinks.
Well, it's just like it would be like Full House without a laugh track. He would just be like, if you didn't have to stop for all the laughing and the oohing and the awing and the crying and the whatever, that show would be 8 minutes. If they had to stop for every Michelle, everybody who enters the room gets their own or yay, and if you cut all that out, cut all the awkward silence of the clapping, you're literally writing 8 minutes of material because you've got a big ass applause buffer.
A kind of awkward silence every time Dave Coulier appears.
Yeah,
that sounds really creepy to me though. Like watching a sitcom and knowing that there's a gigantic room of people just sitting there staring silently.
Well, it wouldn't be like that. They wouldn't have the audience, obviously. They would just be like putting on a like a movie. You would shoot just as is.
Have you seen it was Big Bang Theory without the laugh track?
It
is 100% like just weird.
Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like in my head. I do not laugh at that show.
There's also Big Bang Theory with Tim Allen as a laugh track.
I love that one. One of my favorite shows.
So
Tim Allen's laugh track.
Kayla, this is going to be the last time I'm going to reference you because we're going to start. So, guys, be quiet. I need 5 seconds.
I don't have I couldn't find any good assholes today, dude. Do we want a game or something?
I think Dave said he had something.
So Krista's MIA, and she was the linchpin of the game.
Oh God.
So that's the thing. Like it was going to be full disclosure before, this is peaking.
We're disclosing a lot.
Full disclosure. It's not going to happen, so I can disclose it. What was going to happen was I was going to have Krista. I had Kayla and a bunch of other people from Twitter and Facebook send me fake movie and or product names. And so what we were going to do was I was going to make you guys, before we started rolling, pick a number between 1 and whatever, how many entrants we got. And you don't know the title until Krista texts it to you during the show. And then you would have to look at it and basically the clock starts ticking a minute after she texts that to you. You have to pipe up and say, I just had an idea for a movie. So I was going to pull the wool over the audience and be like, hey, these guys are pulling movies left, right, and center out of their asses. But now,
movie asses.
Now you've seen behind the curtain. I think it'll still be funny.
You forced it out of David. Kicking and screaming.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in the chat was bullying me. I was being trolled. I had to give in.
They were sending so many of those super chats.
I got memed.
Look at all these memes. Ah! An explosion. Fire hose of memes out of my laptop.
Here's one with David wearing glasses. He's like, is this a game?
He's sitting at a table and everything's on fire.
Yeah, okay. So Kayla does have her list, but we'll just put it on hold. We'll put it on hold. All right. I don't think anybody else is going to show up or whatever, so no time like the present to get started.
So David always says.
All right, ready, guys?
We call it a present because it's a gift to all of us. I'm ready.
David in the stomach.
The smoke from all the fires blew back in, and it is miserable.
Yeah, it's awful here.
Our air quality is rated hazardous.
You could be like the toxic Avenger, but like the lame kind of toxic, like carbon monoxide toxic.
Some sort of Captain Planet villain.
Not radiated. Yeah. You like
I'm a rat with the voice of Jeff Goldblum.
No, you'll have
my worst nightmare.
I want you to have a top hat that's also a smokestack that's constantly billowing.
Yeah, and somehow I'm a rich guy, but the only thing I produce is burnt plastic.
Yeah, why is it that they only produce... Guys, we haven't even started the show. Shut up. We haven't even started the show. Okay, here we go. My goddamn chair. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name's Dave, and this is a Fistful of Podcasts from FFOPradio.com. Back for another great week. Let me introduce you, as usual, to my co-host, all the way from the Reno Sparks area. And up first, we have one Mr. Andrew Bergevin.
If shits were tits, every toilet would be censored.
But people typically also censor shit on television.
Do they?
I think.
On the television?
I like maybe, yeah, because every time I see a dog shitting on a TV show like news, they have to blur its butthole, or like if a goat does it. I feel
David still watches TV news.
Well, yeah, I'm always watching, the local, like 6:30 of my favorite anchors who have been on for 40 years. Anyway, whatever, guys. That's Andy. Also, via the same area and also around the same technology, we have one Mr. Adam J. Hubbard Esquire.
Full of burrito power and Diet Coke. Got
that burrito power. He leveled up. Doodly-doodly-doo. It just gets a bigger beard.
Plus one beard.
Ding. So no Krista, guys. She had to take the Sproutling on a ride because we can't. You try and schedule a nap time. Nah, that don't happen.
Hell no.
No, sir. He says I ain't into that. My son's very sassy. Yeah, he's
snapping at David.
He's
Who
always
taught
like
you that.
He's snapping and he's working his neck a whole bunch, and I'm like, oh my gosh, diva over here.
It's palsy, David. You need to take that boy to a doctor.
He's got baby palsy. So recently, we picked up new phones because our contract was finally up, and I don't want to be like this old man who's like, "Hey, my apps."
Lay it on me.
because
Here come the two old men.
here's what
Yeah,
happened.
I can't wait.
Like there was. So we went in, and it was an incredibly painless experience. I will give that to them because we went in. They're like, "What are you doing here?" And we're like, "We want new phones." And they're like, "Okay, sit down. What do you want?" Here they are. Psych. All we got to do, here's an iPad. I'll shoot you an email. You say yes, and they're out the door. One of the most painless experiences of my life dealing with phones. But the whole time we were in there was a couple of old dudes with Trump hats who like I got to hear the entire rundown of like where they could find the photos they have taken on their previous phone, how to get back into their email, like where the phone button was. Like she was basically arranging and feng shuiing their apps for them. And I was like,
handy.
This is welfare. Don't help them. They should be able to
David-
stand on their own 2 feet.
Sink or swim.
I worked that job for like 3 fucking years.
It's crazy. Why is it, Andy? Maybe you have an insight. Why is it that going to a phone store and picking up a new phone, I feel is like buying a car light? It burns up your entire day. It's annoying. They push shit on you that you don't want.
Yeah.
It's just a phone. God damn it.
David, I just upgraded my iPhone, and I yelled at an old dude in the store.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Because he was up an Android.
No, because I walk in and there's an old dude. He's got your typical shitty old dude costume on. His skin is leather.
Yeah,
He's
I love
made
that.
his own tank top.
He's
Wearing his sunglasses.
What?
Yeah, by cutting the sleeves off of a
Yeah,
Hawaiian
yeah.
shirt.
I like the homemade look.
Not from whole cloth, but
But
he didn't.
here's the thing: was it an undershirt or a T-shirt that you meant like a band shirt?
It was a T-shirt that he had cut the sleeves off of, and not just the sleeves, but most of the sides. So it could have been just like a tunic.
I don't get that. Like, why do these?
did he have a hurdy-gurdy?
Oh yeah, hurdy-gurdy. Great reference. Why is it though that like dudes will want to just like cut the sleeves off and then down so they're like the only thing holding like the only thing keeping them calling them sleeve holes instead of just like a literal like a painting smock is like the half inch of material you leave down at the end. Like, do your
Because they
tits
suck,
and
David.
belly need that airflow?
And so I walked in, and all of the people are, are helping other customers.
Yeah.
All of them.
They're busy.
So I said, they're like, we'll be with you soon. And I said, okay, and I sit down.
This is a reasonable request.
And
So
I
far,
hear
I
the
like
old
it.
dude next to me just going, fuck, shit.
Tourette's.
Yeah, he can't help himself, Andy. It's a condition.
Yeah. How
He
dare
kept that
you?
to himself until an older woman walked in, was told to sit down, and he started complaining very loudly, like, look at all these fucking fake people with their fucking smiles. I have important phone calls, and all I want to do is get my phone reactivated because I didn't pay my bill.
Then how important are those calls? Obviously, they're not
I-
worth enough money to keep your phone on.
He got louder and louder and louder until finally he turned to me and was like, I don't mean to complain. I said, I fucking think you do.
I think you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, listen, when I mean to complain, I never say I don't because it's very obvious. And
I got
peop-
up his butt. I was like, I
With
I
your
think you do
finger?
mean to complain because, like, you're just sitting here getting louder and louder and louder. They're helping other people, dude. If you were being helped and an old dude walked in and was like, I demand help now, I think you would be pissed.
you get these interactions that I will never get. Like the one
Andy
time
lives in a different world for most of us.
he does. The one goddamn time I saw somebody blow up in public, and it wasn't even a blow up, and I wasn't even involved. I just got to watch. I was working at Burger King when I was 16, and this lady comes through the drive-thru. I was working the front register. A lady comes through the drive-thru. She gets something wrong and comes back in, and is a real bitch to me and everybody else. And there's this guy. He came in, ordered something, and was just hanging out, leather jacket, like emoting this like I'm a cool dude attitude, but like sort of too old to have that attitude.
I'm the Fonzie.
Kind of, yes. And he's just like, like he's at a bar, old timey, like his elbows are resting on it. He sort of leaned back at the counter, and the lady's like, a real, we didn't have the name for it back then, but it was a real Karen.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he just like rolls his head back and over to her, and he goes, "That's pretty fucking rude." and she goes off on him.
Nice.
And he's like, I don't give a fuck who you are, lady. He's like, you're no better than me. And like they went at it, and I was like, ah. So I ran behind the.
It's happening.
Like, you know where the heat lamps are, where they keep all the food. I ran behind there for protection by the fryer, and I was like, awesome. And so when I got their food, I was like, here you go, guys. And I was like, nice one, dude. And he's like, whatever. And I'm out of here. It was crazy.
Fuck you.
Pause for a second.
Pause.
I didn't turn on off the AC.
It's live, Andy.
We're
We can't
live,
pause.
Andy.
Oh my God,
keep talking.
Andy.
Oh shit.
You're like, pause. We got people. Okay, now, since this is all going to have to get cut out, I can address the chat. So, hey, Mata. So I feel like if Krista were here, she would be watching the chat. So I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to interact with you because.
Okay, don't worry. I fixed everything.
It's costing us money, Andy.
Now
Does it cost money to stream on YouTube?
literally 8 cents a second.
Yeah, it's prime
God.
time.
And there you are spending 14 minutes wiping your ass and turning off the AC.
I don't have to wipe my ass. I got
What?
a
Everyone
bidet.
has to wipe their ass, Andy.
I got a bidet.
He has a bidet. He doesn't need to
Oh,
anymore.
God damn it. Now, see, here's the
Living in
thing.
the
Now
future.
we're so far off track. I don't know where we were or how to edit around this.
You were talking about the dude, the leather jacket daddy yelling at Kieran.
Oh yeah. So that was like, but that was one of the craziest things about that job. It yielded some of the more peculiar stories. Like for the longest time, your first job is the weirdest because minimum wage jobs are not appealing to most people who don't have a problem with substances.
If I may, this was not our original topic. We were talking about your experience in the phone store.
I know, but here,
Okay,
this is a digression.
just so you remember.
What I'm saying is, all the careers I've had that deal with people who, you know, everybody like society looks down on. If you dive in and become part of that culture, you realize why they look down on them. Because I was in them, and I look down on them and myself. I thought
We're all essential now.
I've told David my Burger King story, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. But
Where
this
I
is-
had the manager with the glass eye who would rub his
Oh,
glass
yeah.
eye on
yes.
people's burgers.
Oh my god, yeah. So woof.
And then he wouldn't wash it. He just put it back in. Good,
Yeah.
delicious.
I'm like, I get wanting to put eyeball juice on somebody's food. Ha, gotcha. But wanting to put
Everyone
hamburger
knows that
grease
feeling.
in your eye?
Oh, that's the king's grease.
Like, imagine, like, I'm sure if this happened, you would have told me by now. But like, if he started crying mustard at the front desk, like he just said,
That's the special sauce.
sorry, I was tearing up back there. I bleed red and yellow. Anywho, yeah. So phone store, and it's not. Story's not even about the phone store. So whatever. Moving on. I'm just saying, incredible. COVID streamlined the shit out of that experience.
No, I'll tell you what
Silver
COVID did
lining.
is it gave everybody who goes in that's a retail, like a front-facing person, everybody was suddenly like, you know what? Because of this disease, I'm not even going to try anymore. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Things have really gone off the rails out there.
It's rough, and that's I think, you know, whatever, it's going to be crazy for a while. So that's why you guys should just like hang out on our Facebook, because we don't talk about that shit. We talk about flamingos and we talk about other things.
We don't yell at you, just each other.
Yeah. You can come and vent.
Fuck you.
But anyway, guy, moral of the story is my new phone, like I'm impressed at how fast technology progressed, because last time we got phone swapped, they had to bring out this, it seemed archaic at the time, like this archaic Flintstones type, like Fisher Price giant style transfer machine, and
Yep.
a woman had to like work on it like it was a nuclear sub. And today, this day and age, he's like, oh, just download this app, I'm gonna send you a text, and then done. What?
It's
2 years?
so painless now.
It's crazy. That is, and also, so you know, now we switched from, you know, still the same Android family, but I switched to Samsung for various reasons, and everything is just close enough to make you feel like you know exactly what you're doing until you realize you have no idea where the fuck all your stuff is. And I'm sick and agree or disagree, sick and tired of watching Raid Shadow Legends ads.
Yes.
Holy shit. Are they just like, they have as much money as Coke?
Here's the deal, David, is because I was getting so many Trump ads on my YouTube, I subscribed to their premium so I didn't have to see that. The side effect being I no longer have to see Raid Shadow Legends.
I don't know what that is.
So it's basically World of Warcraft on your phone. That's what they want it to seem like because it's heavily stylized. Like it screams ripoff, but they're doing the Geico thing where they have all these dumbass characters from this dumbass game in zany normal life situations that two ogres or two orcs rather at couples counseling, that would never happen.
I did see that one.
Or like the skeleton warrior doing a job interview. Shut the fuck! I don't give a fuck about your goddamn game. That's
so clever.
And it's one of those gashapon games. So the characters you get are random, but you gotta pay for them.
It's
not free.
Yeah, mobile gaming is like gross. I hate it. Blech.
I don't disagree.
But that's the thing. Like when in looking for these phones, I'm looking up reviews and stuff. There's a lot of dudes out there who are like top 17 gaming phones. And I'm like, who the fuck? I would never game on my phone. I saw an ad for Call of Duty Modern Phone Fair, and I was like, are you fucking? I would never.
It's fanfare.
Like, hey, we're bringing xenophobia and in-baked racism to your phone. Now you can shoot terrorists all over the world, sitting on the shitter or in a doctor's waiting room with the volume all the way up. Modern Warfare, run out there and be an asshole.
Oh man, there was a kid today that was watching one of those, like on YouTube. There's like weird, randomly generated cartoons made by algorithms, essentially, and all the music was fucking Diddy Kong Racing, and I'm sitting there going,
those. We used to watch like there were a few YouTube programs I used to play for Elliot when he was a baby, and every once in a while YouTube would just and be like, hey, here's a fucking nightmare. Here's what they are. They're all the fucking Willy Wonka tunnel. You're going through, and it's just this zany madcap cast of characters that are disparate, doing insane things, and then there's a guy cutting off a chicken's head and the millipede going over the lady's nose and shit, and you're just like, ah! And it's all like, who's doing this? Number one, is there money in it? Number two, and like, is there like what? Like, this is what AI is. It just like gives you fever dreams.
Yeah,
brilliant. Like here, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Here we go.
I do have a question for you about your phone.
Sure. Because
I had an experience with both my mother and father's phones. So do you keep all of your apps in like folders? I don't know how Android works.
Yes. So yes, all of I like a very clean phone. I have my home screen has two things on it. That's it. Then I've got one more page that has a very slim line of folders. I don't like a messy. I don't want to hunt for shit. You know what I mean? It's 2020.
Have you seen your mother-in-law's or your mother's phone?
I've seen my wife's phone. I was trying to hook it up to her car, and I had her unlock it, and she handed it to me, and it was like as if, like, when in that old-timey Yoshi's Island commercial or whatever, where that guy kept eating, and then it explodes, and there's spaghetti and shit everywhere.
Also the first victim in 7.
Yeah, also him. But that was like if you could force feed an app store until it exploded, disgorging them randomly and desperately across as many home screens as the phone would allow. That was my wife's phone. And she's like, I don't know why my phone's running so slow. I'm like, why do you have 900? What? Yeah, I know why you're. And since she's not here, she never deletes any text message ever.
Yeah, get her, David. Get her.
So she will
tear into her.
She's got 9 or 10 gigabytes of just text messages spanning decades. Like some of these were sent back on a razor. That's how old they are. Still saved them. I hope Krista is not in the chat, by the way.
It's one of those things where like my mom was like, my phone keeps on making an alarm at a certain time of day, and I don't know why. I was like, well, open up your phone and we'll. Yeah. Like, do you have any apps that might do that? She's like, I don't know. And then she just starts paging through her phone. I'm like, what are you doing with your fucking life?
It makes me sick. When you see someone scroll like page after page after page of apps and it's not their main menu, I just feel sick to my stomach.
Also, Krista, if you're here, you have to say something or it's entrapment.
Yeah.
What mom does she say? Wouldn't that be hilarious? She just jumps out from under a box at the end of the show. Like, or she's behind one of these relics back here, or like this is actually a secret trap door. Like the ghoulies.
We're just gonna see her rise up from behind David on the live stream.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe how people live sometimes. And it's like these
It's
little
amazing.
little things, but they're like little more than apes. Like if you give Coco the gorilla an iPhone 7, it'll look a
R.I.P.
lot
Coco.
like your parents' smartphone. It's I don't know.
It's
Oof.
deep.
So
Ugh.
tell me about it. But I also have something that I've been grappling with. So now that the kid is getting old enough we're gonna have to start making him learn English.
Is that what we're calling it now? Is just the kid? Because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean the kid. He's gonna be the one and only, so you might as well call him the kid.
Call him the kid.
He's the kid, and the kid craps his pants. That's his nickname. I'm gonna make that stick too.
The kid strolled into
I'm
the bar and made
Fastest
an
crapper in
oopsie.
the West.
Kid craps his pants is coming into town.
I smell trouble.
That's not trouble. Where was I going with all of this? Yeah,
You said
okay.
You're gonna make your kid learn English.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to start. My point is, we're gonna have to start catering our language around this child because I don't want to be the person. We've all seen the YouTube video of like the 30-second clip of the 2-year-old who learns fuck, and the parents are like, yeah, and like they're like cheering him on behind the camera. I don't want to be that person on or off camera. So I'm
Right.
trying to start and curtail my swearing, and it's not going great because when you have to deal with another human being shit every day, you want to say shit a lot. Like imagine
Are you?
listen, if Andy, you had to deal with Adam's shit. Imagine how many times a day you would say shit.
I mean, at least his is solid.
I think I got it covered though.
Right, but
No, Adam lost both of his arms in the war.
well,
They just fell off.
well, yeah, Elliot's is solid too. It's no longer like a constant stream of spaghetti through a blender.
Oh God,
It's rough, dudes. Here's the
What are you
thing.
feeding that kid?
SpaghettiOs.
Your
In a blender.
the first, you know how, okay, so like babies are like, I don't even know how to describe it. So babies they arrive in this little package and the insides are all weird and gooey and all fucked up and strange. So you're like their first 2 or 3 months of shitting is just a constant stream of nightmare juice. but it's
All the leftover packing
yeah,
material.
it's like every bit of excess, like every gooey little cram and crevice is excised and it shoots out of their ass. But eventually they get over it. It doesn't get better. It just changes.
Was this in the baby book?
No, and that's maybe I should write one because everybody's baby books are very, mild and uplifting and also very misleading. Because there'll be an offhanded comment of being like, oh, having a child will be the toughest thing you'll ever love. That is putting it so mildly, water would seem spicy.
weak sauce.
The weakest of sauce, because there will be times where you will be losing your hair because you can't sleep. And some days you'll just like absentmindedly stick your thumb into a log of shit. And nobody's book says that. There's no book that's like, watch your thumb when you change your kid's diaper because it will attract, like you'll bury it in there 9 times out of 10 if you're not paying attention. Because the kid will be
I turned my
kicking.
head to say something.
Yeah, the kid will be kicking, or you'll get distracted somewhere, and it's like when you're making a pie, you got to focus on the pie. Otherwise, it's the possibilities of ruining it. Like you don't want to be watching TV while you're spreading the crust out. It's a very important and similar lesson, but it smells way worse. So that's the thing. I don't know how. My biggest hope is that he doesn't turn out to be a white trash kid running around when playgrounds open again, being like, "Suck my dick, motherfucker," and I'll be like, it's his mother.
David often has early 2000s WWE on the television when he's kids.
It's the only thing that puts him down.
Typically, some people like nursery rhymes. He is a huge fan of Raw. Especially, you remember like the old days when they had the divas? He loves a good diva match.
Yeah. Kane, and he loved that whole thing where Kane is like Undertaker's
Rage in the
brother.
cage puts him right out.
Listen, when Kane took off the mask, that was the end of his lineage. Like, if you have a cool mask, keep that shit. Like, You're wearing one of these. You're wearing like a Jason mask. You know why Jason keeps wearing the mask? Because it's cool and it's recognizable. When you shave your head, take off the cool mask, and now you just look like a toe-headed weirdo whose brows seem to be injected with layer after layer of silicone for some reason. Keep the mask.
Is that, well, he took out the mask. I was like, "Ooh, he looks like a toe." Put the mask back on, and then he was like, "I'm done with wrestling. I'd like to be a Republican something or other."
Uh-oh.
Didn't he go to MMA for a while? I feel like he did the MMA thing. Like Kurt.
I think he's the mayor of somewhere now.
What? Who?
Crazy.
Listen, if your mayor is Kane, you deserve him. If that's
As a Republican, he is mayor of Knox County, Tennessee.
that is in the South, I'll buy it. In the South, I'll buy it because it feels very kitschy and like, whatever. When Reagan got in as a president, even though he was an actor, there's always going to be that appeal where like star fuckers will vote some celebrity in because they happen to ally with them politically, even if they didn't. Like if Jesse Ventura came to Arizona and ran for anything, I don't care what, on what platform, I would vote for him. And that's why America is a bad place.
See, David,
like
I
me.
currently have a picture of Kane or Glenn Thomas Jacobs
Oh.
pulled up. He looks like the fat Drew Carey.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Drew Carey's older brother.
Yeah, it's like if they were doing like a sitcom of Drew Carey's like at home life, he would be the older brother that shows up like Wonder Years style just to fuck with him every once in a while, and then he'd be out for a couple episodes.
And I'm trying to rack my brain. Do counties usually have mayors?
I don't think so. Maybe that's
Honorary.
because it's in the South. Maybe they named their town.
Maybe it's a town called Knox County.
Possibly. Also, it could be an honorary position. Like Steven Seagal was never a lawman. He's a guy that gets to ride around in an SUV and listen to the radio. Isn't that a
I
law?
want that job.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure his current job is Putin's cockboy.
Which one? Like, there's a hierarchy.
Well,
Andy,
when you're a famous dictator, you got to have a lot of cock seeds on hand.
you don't want to get our funding cut.
That's what I call.
Oh, are we?
That's what I call my wiener, dictator, because it looks like a potato. Too many eyes for most people's tastes.
Looks like a tater tot.
Yeah, it's fried, it's golden brown, glistening all the time. But it's long. It's not like small like a tater tot, guys. Don't razz me there. Just the texture.
It's a big tater tot.
It's a big one.
It's like if we forgot to roll it out and then cut it into little ones. Like it's just a big long one we cooked.
It's like a mozzarella stick that looks like a tater tot.
Like you see all the time.
Yeah, like when you go to Sonic and they accidentally there's a mix up in the genetic engineering machine. Oh,
I don't know why, but a long tater tot just sounds gross to me.
Come down to Sonic Burger and get our tater rope.
There are some things. There are some things that live or die on the outer and inner feel, and if you fuck with that balance, it's off. It's gone. Too much gooey middle will ruin the crunchy outside.
Like a tater tot that's been like wrapped into a pretzel shape.
Woof. Ew.
This is my pretzel.
Seems like it wouldn't cook evenly. But guys, I had an idea. This is not $1 million idea. This is simply
Just a regular idea.
Just a regular idea. Like this is something you could take in front of the board and be like, yeah, that's a regular idea. We approve.
Yeah. They don't all need to make money.
No, I mean, this will make money. Don't get me wrong, because it's pure profit almost. But it's not $1 million. So I want to open a competing hat store with what is it, like the flipped lid or what's lids, just lids. So what I'm going to do is go into every mall that still exists, get the shop right across the open air market from them, and it'll be my shop. My shop is called Highway Hats, and it will be stocked exclusively with the hats that assholes are the hats of assholes that are whipped off their head on the freeway. Because this week alone, I've seen hats. Basically, I've seen a dozen hats on the highway, and then we went to downtown Mesa, which is like, top speed limit of 35. Saw a couple there too. At 35, if your hat flies off, you can one, tighten it. God damn it, like 35, and two, you're going slow enough. You could just be like, slow to a stop, pick up your hat, dust it off. But no, they're just abandoning them everywhere. So I'm saying we get a store, Highway Hats. We get some sort of autoclave for hats. I'm sure you could use an autoclave on hats, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Something just to
What
kill
is an autoclave?
it's
An autoclave is like a glaive, but it goes automatically.
Is it like Kroll?
Yeah,
Literally,
it's just like Krull.
literally nothing like that. An autoclave is a
No, I
machine.
got it now.
It's a machine where you sterilize surgical gear. So I don't know if it uses chemicals or if it uses heat, whatever. Moral of the story is we'll get a hat sanitizing device, so we won't be passing on lice from generation to generation. But that's what I'm saying. Zero overhead because all the hats will be collected. Like maybe we'll pay one guy to just drive around the freeway loops, for 6-8 hours a day, collect all the hats, throw them in the back of the van. At night, we bring them in, practice like blow a tank of gas. That's what, $80 for a van, maybe. And that is a full inventory of hats.
Now, I don't often say this, David, so don't get used to it, but I think you might have something here.
Yeah.
See, now listen, that's why this isn't $1 million idea. It would take a lot of drive to get those done, but this is doable for the average man.
It's almost pure profit.
Exactly. Like if you can just get your shady cousin to get, buy a beater van, roll around, say, basically set some quality standards. You don't want something that was run over or like is obviously an old hat, but like there are a ton of flat brim stickers on steel caps out there on the freeways. Bring those babies in. The customers will love it because they'll essentially be getting brand new hats at discount prices. It's all profit. We rise in power and start committing crimes. We start laundering money through the shop. We get into drugs. I want to be into like weapons and arms deals by the end of the year 2022.
I'm rescinding my endorsement.
No, I'm not. But I like the idea that some guy watched them. I was like, honey, that store has a hat just like the one that I lost on the freeway that said Weed, California.
Exactly.
That's an angle I hadn't even thought of before. The whole sentimental value.
Yep. So, and that's the thing. When you go there, it's kind of like a Bookman's or a used bookstore that constantly has a revolving stock. You go in and you see something and maybe you see like, oh, that's a Jordan with the stickers on or what Nike, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. Originally, obviously, you would have paid $85 for this at the Nike store, but here it's like $35, and we cleaned all the lace off.
Well, but see, the angle I was thinking of originally was how people buy like jeans that are like intentionally beat up looking or torn or ripped and stuff.
Okay.
Like you're tapping into a market for that, but it's hats.
But
definitely clean them off and sanitize them, but they're already beat up and worn out looking.
So my initial business plan was just to use the cream of the crop and leave the trash behind. But you're saying we could have a subline of like distressed.
I'm saying bring them all in.
Yeah.
I can see that. We could have like a wall of top tier hats and like middle tier and let's say you just want to you're on the way, like you're at the mall and you're like, oh, I need a hat for the river tomorrow. Here's a $2 hat. It's a little rough, but we sanitized it with an autoclave.
Yeah, here's a trashy party hat.
Yeah, this one says knock on wood, and it's a an arrow pointing down all the way to your wiener. It goes off the hat and it goes down to your shoulder.
Just a big ribbon that hangs off the hat.
Yeah, it's very annoying. But with a safety pin, you just pin it to like your belt, and
Pretty sure you can go get a new one at Spencer's.
God, this hat says "World's Most Fuckable Uncle," and that's just weird.
Hey, uncles and aunts, they got to get love too. Not all of them are taken yet.
I guess that's true.
When Andy was an uncle, he was like 8. So are you saying that that's a weird thing?
Are you not an uncle anymore?
I rescinded that.
When he was first an uncle, I mean.
I gave up that title.
When I was first an uncle, I was 0.
See? So immediately Andy was born weird.
Yeah, born with a silver uncle spoon in his mouth.
He was already on his way. He had from the moment Andy emerged into the world, he had a grand lineage before him of the world's most fuckable uncle.
Just had an uncle handed to him when he was born.
Yeah,
the silver uncle spoon is engraved with the words Michelob Ultra.
Yeah, that's the thing. You'll always have that title, Andy. World's
most fuckable uncle.
You were an uncle when you were still a single cell.
It's true.
Even before. When you were half cells.
When I was up in heaven and God was making me out of God clay.
I gotta send you down back to work.
When you were but carbon atoms filtering through the universe 4 billion years ago.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Still an uncle. Maybe not, because you still have to have had the first. Yeah, you would have to.
You still need nibblings.
Yeah, the first person needs to be born to make you the uncle. So we can only go back so far. This is not a Andy, the time traveling incest lawyer edition. That one still cracks me up, guys. So, what's new with you guys? It's been a couple of weeks. Obviously, if you're watching the live stream and whatever, and also listening to this, a lot of shit has been happening around the show.
Yeah, David talked about with the paleontologist about Steven Seagal.
We did. That's on the FFOP 5. Oh man. Well, if you guys are ever on like a real stream, and we're doing like a hangout sort of thing, not like a show. You guys will have to be subject to the FFOP 5.
See, I just wanted to pop in and be like, when we went to visit David and he took us to Bookman's, he already owned all of the Steven Seagal movies, and yet he's going through Bookman's like, look, this copy of Under Siege has a slightly different coloration on the text.
Some
a first edition.
Alternate editions are interesting because, let's say you get a copy of the original TMNT, a couple years before the Michael Bay reboot, which made them throw a few dollars into re-editing and adding special features to the new or to the old one. So I've got two versions. I've got one where it's literally just a disc with like the copy of TMNT 1990 on it. There's no special features. There ain't shit. And then I have one back here behind me that was produced in 2005 or whatever they decided to reamp everything. And it's chock full of special features. So you got to get both.
Okay.
And for Steven.
I understand.
And for Steven.
Don't give him money.
You don't give him money. You buy all the stuff used. Steven's one of those guys who you prey upon his victims. So all the old old-timey action dads and all the those dudes are like, yeah, another Steven Seagal movie. And then 3 weeks later they keel over from a coronary or whatever, smoking related death. And then their family takes that to Bookman's. Dave here gets to support local business by giving the money to Bookman's, and I get to walk away knowing that Steven Seagal hasn't profited from me, and I get to watch his shit.
Yeah, Steven Seagal is the lion in this jungle, and we're the jackals following in his wake.
Yeah, we are the lowly hyenas snapping at his heels, but he's getting a little older and he's getting a little bigger, so you might be more like a elephant.
Yeah,
or
eventually be able to overpower him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like any good predator. You run at your prey. It may take 10 hours, but at the end you'll have a dead moose. Or whatever.
What if David, if you take down Steven Seagal and eat his heart to gain his courage, all you're getting is butter.
Well, not only that, but
this heart is delicious.
That would be fine, but I would fear that it would actually leach courage out of me. Because when you add a negative to something, there's going to be a repercussion.
The cursed heart.
I would become more cowardly. It would be like when Jason was resurrected. I would be the guy chowing down on the heart, and cut to I'm coming out of the room and my hair's already black and slicked back in a ponytail, and my stomach is visibly growing. And I'm getting
the changes upon him.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more pompous and over deserving of things I don't.
If you're aware, Seagal, what causes you to change?
Well, so if you eat his heart, that's when you're inflicted. But I imagine anytime there's a race you can prey off of and co-opt as your own, that's when it happens. Because he does it in all his movies. So if you're aware, Seagal, and you're around other of your particular subsect of the public, you just stay sane. If we were hanging out, we would be the same. But if I jump out of this studio and go down the street and there's some guys, some black guys down there, I would have to be like Steven Seagal as the black guy. So I would pull on my do-rag and I would, blow it up and everything and get the disgusting goatee and be like, hey man, I'm Steven Seagal from Urban Justice. And then if I saw a family of Asian people, I would have to be like, oh, I'm Steven Seagal from Into the Sun. And if so that's the thing, there's a Native American one. It's just you would have to smell something in the air to co-opt and steal as your own.
What is that? Churros?
That's one he's never been. He's never played a Hispanic role. He played a Native American. He played.
Also, if there's any sort of crisis around you, that might trigger the change.
Yes.
Yeah,
a street fight or a bar fight.
Street fight, bar fight. If someone steals a sub or a train.
Yeah.
What if someone steals a sub sandwich?
This will also activate the curse.
Yeah, you need to fill that gut. It's like the Hulk. Once you change back,
You'll chase down the person that stole the Subway sandwich, but you'll scarf it down as soon as you get
Yeah,
there.
it's like as if you were a super predator of criminals, where you only prey upon other criminals. So like you have to wait for a guy to snatch a purse before you can snatch the purse from the guy who snatched it from the lady.
Yeah, like the serial killer.
Yeah, you'd be like the Dexter of purse snatchings. but the lady still gets fucked in the end because she keep her purse. So I guess justice is not served.
David clutches his chest and his hair starts getting all greasy.
Yeah, running through the streets all awkward and like huge, just ripping purses out of ladies' arms. Like I go to
You
the
don't
boardwalk.
understand, Krista. You have to get away from me.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I would take that power.
Talking about old shit.
Sure.
Alex and I, to wind down at the end of the night, they put Thundercats up on Hulu.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that it is surprisingly
Does
like
hold
it
up?
holds together better than a lot of old cartoons. Like you watch He-Man and they just shove you into He-Man. They're like, oh no, there's Skeletor. Like what the fuck?
Well, yeah, because
The
it's
skeleton,
TV.
beat him up.
Or rather, it's toy pushing.
Right.
Well, but at least Ninja Turtles had like 4 opening episodes to set up the premise.
Yeah,
But Ninja Turtles didn't start out as
Yeah.
a toy scheme.
Ninja Turtles was an original IP. He-Man was, hey, let's sell these fucking toys. So we don't need subtext. We don't need background. We don't need non-homoerotic overtones. We got
But what I want-
cartoon.
What I wanted to talk about is Mum-Ra himself.
Sure.
So he's what, like 2,000 years old. He did changes whenever he
been
talks.
He's an old guy.
He's been alone for a long time, and I noticed in the show whenever he's alone and doing evil things, he makes puns to himself and then starts laughing. I think he's just lonely.
Sometimes you got to make yourself laugh. I think we've all been there where you get left home alone, like the people you live with or whatever. You are somewhere by yourself for a few days. I think everybody does that. I think everybody at some point breaks and at the very least starts talking out loud just to pass the time. So
Yeah.
I would say that's more typical human or whatever species he is.
There are humans in that show, but they're all idiots.
Well, they all
Like
have
every
to be.
last one.
They all have to be. Like if you have what about the Transformers? I feel like you need to have the human characters so they can be like, oh, let's relate. But let's be real. No one gives a shit about the human characters when you have a giant robot.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's why the Transformers movie sucked so much ass, because they were like, you know what's cool? Shia LaBeouf.
And Mark Wahlberg.
Megan Fox.
Yeah, but that's the thing. How do you cheapen something that was made as cheaply as possible? It's like exactly. It would be like as a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy, and the very last copy that you make is on like toilet paper. It's like, oh, this thing that had so much ethos, that show that was made for toys. Now you've cheapened it by putting Shia LaBeouf in my masterpiece.
Oh, it's 2-ply.
Optimus Prime, no. How could
I
you
will
have
say
sold
that
out?
I went and saw the third Transformers movie with some of our buddy Larson's friends, and it was the last time that I ever went to the movies
Ever?
with Larson.
Oh,
Ever.
full stop.
Because things would appear on screen and they'd start hooting and hollering,
Apparently, it was made for them.
and I'd just be like, I was far enough away from the people hooting and hollering that I was like, I'm not with any of them. Goodbye.
Please, someone get at me, hit me up on Twitter, on Facebook. If you're one of these people who likes to yell and react to a thing that was captured either digitally or on a film medium months and or years before you saw it, who are you applauding for? The projector? The guy who sold you the
Yay.
popcorn? The screen?
The guy who
who
sold you
is
the popcorn does deserve applause.
sure, but do it out in the fucking lobby. Now when I'm watching a movie, who you like? Do you think
When
this
he's
is
pouring the popcorn.
like? Do you think that in every screening of every movie, like there's someone involved with it, like wearing a fake nose and a wig, like with a clipboard? And they're like, "Yep, these guys clapped," and you get put in a list, and they're like, "Oh, we're."
Of course, I don't think that's how he's in there, David. He's disguised as one of the seats.
Because he's also a pervert.
But where's his head? All those movie seats stop at the shoulder. Where's this dude's head?
He's a little person.
He crunches down, or maybe he has really tall shoulders.
Maybe he's a contortionist and just has it like sideways.
He looks like Kingpin from the Spider-Man Miles Morales movie.
Yeah. He's just big block.
Why bother throwing R&D money into chair costume engineering when Party City has fake noses and wigs? And P.S. They can send an intern. No one knows who they are. They don't even need a disguise.
They could just be naked in there and painted like the walls.
Yeah.
That I will also accept because it makes sense.
So
The chair thing.
Now, Adam, I want you to step back and imagine that you're the person pouring the popcorn and David starts clapping for you. Like, enthusiastically. Do you take this in a good way, or do you think he's some sort of sarcastic ass?
Let me go ahead and answer, Adam. But I have a story that relates literally to this almost exclusively.
I think my initial reaction would be to feel insulted. But if David's like an avid moviegoer and he comes in and does this all the time and really feels genuine about it, I think it would work out eventually.
There's a good rapport. He asks you out.
Yeah.
I bet it would be rough the first couple of times because it, like, without context, you would be like, "What the fuck?" But so here's the story. I used to work at Dickinson Theaters as a projectionist, and they were whatever I was moving through whatever ranks there were at a movie theater, so they're giving me like more leeway so I can wander around and make sure everybody's doing their shit and whatever. And so everybody at the front counter was so jaded that one time there was this little goth girl who worked there, and she had like these little, short hair but pink curls up front, and wore the fingerless black like elbow length gloves and shit, like very
Nice.
Jack
But they did
Skellington.
the popcorn butter all over them.
I could not. I didn't question her choices. She made that choice and she did it. She was a Tim Burton nightmare. But just walking by, I just like paused in my step. I looked up from my clipboard and I said, "You're doing a hell of a job." And she goes, "I'm sorry. I'm so busy. There was people and now I'm cleaning the counter." And I'm like, "No, did you not hear me?" And she goes, "Oh, thanks." That really happened.
She was just a thread away from a total breakdown.
Yeah, literally the simplest interaction. You're doing a hell of a job. Meltdown.
Throws popcorn everywhere.
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, keep up the good work," and I walked away. Then
The
I
worst
made
thing
sure.
about working in a theater is
What's
when
that?
you get new people and they're microwaving that gigantic tub of butter.
Oh, thank
Ugh.
God, I never worked concession. I started and ended in the projection room. Never had to deal with a
Good for
single
you,
customer.
because-
Loved it, but I want to know what it was like downstairs.
Well, David, you'd get new people and they'd microwave the big jug of butter because you have to melt it before you put it in the thing. Except that they would not grab like an oven mitt when they were taking it out.
What?
So roughly every 2 weeks, you would have a concession floor that was kind of like a fun soupy sales thing.
Yeah.
Like, whoop, 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 whoop.
That is, I don't, and that must just be built into the overhead because like you're employing 16-year-olds who are already bringing their own grease to the party, and then you're being like, "Hey, microwave up a gallon of this shit." It's going like they must be like, "Okay, in the budget, but like fucking, what are we looking at? 4 tubs of grease a week just lost to the floor."
Yeah. Like I could literally every once in a while I'd arrive at work and be like, "Oh, it's a skating day," and you just put one foot down and launch yourself like, "Wee!"
It was, oh yeah, that's why I'm glad I stayed up top. Like the craziest thing that I ever saw or did was like somebody had put a platter of a movie together wrong, and it got fucked. So when you think of a projector, you think of the 2 reels that go from front to back.
Yeah.
But in real life, it's these 2 huge pizza platters, and
Yep.
that goes through the camera up and onto the other top platter, and vice versa. Well, if you don't load it right or you don't build the film right, what can happen is it will snag, it will tear, and then it will rip a movie print that costs a lot of money to shreds.
Oof.
And I walked in like at the start of my shift, guy left. I'm like, "See you later, do." So every 15 minutes I get up and check because I am paranoid of this happening. First run, I go up the one side of the theater, everything's cool. I'm like, "Yep," make it back to the center line, start walking. He goes, I hear this like real faint. I'm like, what the hell? So as I'm getting closer, it's like, I'm like, "Oh my God." So literally the last platter was just eating a roll of Alvin and the Chipmunks 2.
Oh no. What a loss.
Oh my God. So I look down and I'm like, oh my God, thank God, one family only. And they complain. My manager comes in. I'm up there. Like, it looks like a cartoon. I'm literally covered in film, like swooping all over my body, like luxurious ribbons on a French courtesan's dress. And I look down at my manager, who looks up at me, and all I can do is just shake my head.
Manager says, Alvin.
Yeah. I just shook my head, and like, she obviously saw the background and everything surrounding me, and she just gave me like a curt nod, and she's like, and led this poor family out of the theater. Oh, it was so sad.
So, Dave, as a projectionist, did you have that big cabinet that was fireproof?
Yes.
Was yours walk-inable?
No, it was like almost like a bookshelf size.
So we had one that you could walk into, and our main projectionist, who I think was named something like Wayne, used that as his own personal reefer madness cabinet.
Uh-oh.
Oh, but those
like you would walk up there and be like, "Hey, where are you?" And the door would open, and just like pot smoke would be like,
those chemicals are flammable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the fire can't get out of the fireproof cabinet.
Oh,
He's
but,
right.
But imagine the backdraft when you're like, all right, done here, and then whoosh.
Yeah, where's Wayne? Let me check in this cabinet.
Yeah, just like, and
the flaming
room,
skeleton.
Yeah, the room rockets out of the building and into space. Oh my
It was
God.
always funny to walk up there and look for him, because you knew. Just go, if you don't see him immediately, go to the cabinet or follow the pot smoke.
The one guy who trained me and I worked with and eventually outgrew was this guy who was really into LSD and acid, but also really into swords. One of these guys who
God.
like the carbon content, the forge, all the bullshit that no one gives a shit about anymore. That, like, guess what? Guns have been invented, and P.S. we've moved even beyond that. So being a sword person is like the guy on the giant wheeled bicycle. Stop
There's
it!
a whole TV show that revolves around that right now.
The
It's like
bicycle?
Forged in Fire or something.
Yeah, the bicycle.
Sure, like, I get the art form
There's
or
an
whatever,
audience.
but his thing wasn't the art form. It wasn't like the artistry of the sword making. It was the utility. He needed these swords to fight the zombies that were coming, or to protect himself if a burglar broke in. Like, imagine, I
Those
can't
are
only,
LSD hallucinations.
this probably. Because, like, who else? Like, I can't imagine what is in his head, what it must be like. Someone breaking into his house and him slowly slipping out of his sheets, already clad in a kimono with like a Hattori Hanzo blade, and walks out like silently as a ninja to his living room and slices a guy in half. How do you explain that to the police?
It's government
Self-defense.
LSD, and he's been activated.
Yeah.
Self-defense. I chopped a guy clean in half. You don't think he could have stopped halfway? Jesus Christ.
Cut him half and half?
Or just like give him like a chop. Like, imagine being a cop and being like, all right, break in, you're driving there, you walk up, you're like, oh, it's run of the mill, fill out a report, break in, and you go in there and there's a dude bisected like at a 45-degree angle from shoulder to hip. That would be the day you would remember.
Yeah.
You get in there just in time to see his body slowly slide in half.
Yeah. Police, and the door just swings open and you're like, just sounds like a side of beef.
Officers, I've gotten rid of this Gaijin intruder.
Now, if you'll please excuse me. And then he flicks the blood off of his sword and like
No, my computer.
slips into his scabbard. My computer.
Fully hilts it. Ching.
This guy was a trip, man. Here's what I love. I will always sit and listen to people's drug stories because there's never a bad one. Nobody ever has a drug story that ends in like, we just got really tired and napped from like, what was it, 2:30 to 3:45. And then we woke up.
My edible story.
Yeah, but that's not a story. You wouldn't, like, that's not a drug story. You wouldn't, if someone's like, tell me a drug story, your go-to would be like, I ate a weed cookie and fell asleep on the couch.
Papa,
David,
tell me a drug story.
Tell me a drug story.
Tell me it. They are always good and they're always different. You can hear a story about how a guy was sitting on the side of a road, basically in the gutter, watching a bush turn into a large tower of roiling goblins. Or you can hear something as simple as a guy tripping balls, running out to the desert, and finding some moldy old porn. They're both adorable.
Those are adventures.
They're adventures. The drug story here. Just real quick. Drug story. That is my favorite. When I was an electrician, I had a helper named Tracy. I was 20, he was 40, and he was my helper. He also loved speed and meth. So one day,
kept him going.
He was literally the best helper I ever had. No joke. But one day he comes in and tells me the story. He goes, "Oh, Dave, my girlfriend got mad at me. She got mad at me." And I go, what's the deal, Tracy? He goes, "Well, I was out in the desert, just running around, having a good time." I'm being him because his affectation was so insane. He goes, "I was running around, having a good time in the desert, Dave. And I was out there, right? And I was, my girlfriend was the guy who owns the boat shop that we both live in. I think he might be having sex with her. Whatever. So I'm out in the desert, right? I'm out in the desert, and I see like this Beaver magazine, right, Dave? I see this Beaver magazine, and I think, well, Beaver magazine, I'll give that to my girlfriend. That's a good something to give my girlfriend. I'm gonna pick up this Beaver magazine and give it to my girlfriend. And so I brought back, I walked through the desert, obviously, and I go back to where we live, and I hand her this magazine, and she's really mad at me. She was really mad at me, Dave, because she didn't want the Beaver magazine, and I was like, "Why wouldn't you want the Beaver magazine?" And she was so mad at me, so I had to sleep in a boat while my girlfriend slept with the guy who owns the boat shop in our bed. Is that weird, Dave? Is that weird at all, Dave? I found a Beaver magazine in the desert. This favorite drug story. It was from start to finish, maybe 45 seconds, but this is also the same guy I had to draw elemental shapes on all my tools for. So I would say, up in a ceiling, I'd be like, "Tracy, hand me the triangle, buddy," or I'm looking for that square. Where's that circle? Hit me up with that circle.
Awesome.
Favorite drug story. You got a favorite drug story, guys?
My favorite drug story is when I was hanging out with a guy who's doing mushrooms, and he was like, they were like, "Let's go outside and look at stuff." And I was like, "Okay." Go outside to look at stuff, and he's like, "I fucking love that tree." Talked about this tree for 5 minutes, like it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I get that.
And like the colors and shit. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's cool, Dave." His name was also Dave.
Whoa, I'm tripping out now because I did mushrooms before the show.
And this man was you.
I'm seeing trails.
Like 2 minutes later, he goes, "We have to go inside."
Because the tree was
I'm
evil?
like, why is that, Dave? He goes, "There's 36 raccoons in that tree, and they're all holding something, but they won't show me what it is."
That is oddly specific.
I was like, "Okay, we can go inside away from the raccoons."
Here's a hot take on drugs. Mushrooms is a drug that I would love to take. But number one, where do you get them? Number two, when am I going to find the time?
Where do those dang things come from?
Where do you go to get mushrooms? Like, who do you ask to be like, "Hey, what mushrooms?" But that's always been one of those drugs that, I think appeals to more people because you hear the horror stories about LSD and MDMA and all your like basically like rolling the dice with your brain chemistry every time. Unless you do like a shit ton of mushrooms has like sort of a mellow vibe. And if I were ever in a point in my life where I'm at a party or somewhere and somebody's got some mushrooms, like, "Hey, want to fly, bro?" I don't care how obnoxious they are. I would probably take them up on it, but I'm almost 40 and it hasn't happened yet. And I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon because there's not a lot of people out there offering drugs free of charge to nobodies.
Hello, I'm a first timer and I would like some drugs.
If can the first one be free? If you will kindly, I hear the first one is free, sir. Can I approach the subject about the freeness of the first time?
I would like to become addicted. Look, I'm going to become addicted, but I can't do that until you give me one free trial.
Yeah, I'm interested. There. Okay, this is an interesting likening too. So have you seen that fucking commercial for that Marvel Strike Force?
I'm playing it.
Well, here's
Marvel
the commercial
Strike
I'm
Force?
referring to. There's a commercial that just rolls in with game footage and is like, "Whoa, so you're interested in Marvel Strike Force, but you don't know what it is or how to play." And then so I'm thinking, my next question is, then how are you interested? You don't know what it is. You don't know how to play, but you're interested in playing Marvel Strike Force, are you? I don't think so. Bad commercial. And that's what drugs are. That's what drugs are. The first one is free. They say, "Hey, you want to try a drug?" And you say, "Well, what does it do?" "I don't know. How's it? Whatever." The first one's free.
Never touch the stuff.
Marvel Strike Force. I don't know anything about it. Just try it, goddammit. Meth. Don't know a thing about it. First time.
Don't try
free.
that.
Yeah, don't do that one.
But it will be free. So if you have the kind of constitution, the iron jug, the cojones.
Iron jugs of justice.
Yeah, if you have the iron jugs of justice you could probably take meth once and be okay. I thought of something. P.S. Thinking of Jugs of Justice. So one of my
Steven Seagal again.
One of my favorite things to say if I'm impressed by something is it will knock your dick in the dirt. But people are woke. You have to address various other groups. So I'm expanding from
to be inclusive.
I'm including now a second, and maybe moving forward will be different. So I'll say it'll knock your dick in the dirt if I'm talking to a dude. Got a lady in front of me. I'm gonna say it'll throw your tits in the trash.
Well,
because you need or knock your tits in the trash. I don't care. It's got to have alliteration, Adam. If you can think of another T thing that you can knock your tits into, I'll take it.
Like, so what are my range of things? Like, does it have to go down, up? Does it have to be trashy?
Well, what do you mean down or up? Like you like whatever the body part.
The dick in the dirt is going down.
Yes,
and it's dirty.
That's the thing. Whatever you're doing, you're basically imagine a hand knocking whatever genital and or body part into whatever thing that has an alliterative property.
It'll slap your boobs in the brush.
That'll really stick your tits in a tree.
Oh,
the tree is up,
but it's up. We have to knock them down.
Uppercutted them. Tits.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, then it'll blast your tits in the tree. You have to explain how the tits got there. Like if you're
verbiage, Andy.
The verbiage is important. If you're saying it'll knock your tits in the trash, I can imagine slap those tits and they fall into a garbage can. But if you blast,
I was thinking of like a tit-eating tree, like in Charlie Brown.
I don't think that'll. Genetics may have something in the future, but as of right now, I don't think.
It'll slap your tits to the turf.
Knock your tits to the turf, maybe.
Okay,
you're knocking them down. Imagine like 2 milk bags on a counter. You're slapping off onto the. But dick in the dirt is like already perfect. So maybe that's what'll need to happen. We need to workshop this a little more. I think knock your tits in the trash is good because your dick, when it falls into the dirt, will be dirty. And if your tits fall into the trash, they will also be dirty.
What if we just make it more vague to be more inclusive? It'll knock your privates to the peat.
It'll knock your gens to the ground.
No, it's 2 different kinds of G.
I know it's not good.
That'll grind your nope. Still gens.
Grind your groin into the ground.
Into the grit.
Grind your groin.
Ground is also good.
Here's the thing: when you're shocked by something, knock your dick into the dirt is a perfect compunctuation because it's fast, it's a surprise, and you're like, what? Knock dick in dirt. Bam. If you're standing around to grind a genital into the ground or the grit, that's not a surprise. That's torture. So we can't do grind. It's got to be something where it's
be quick.
Fast. Imagine someone coming out from around a corner, doing the thing to you and running off. It has to be fast.
Succinct.
No, I paid a very quick dominatrix to knock me down.
She's the fastest.
Stomp, gone.
She's the fastest groin grinder this side of the Mississippi.
She's like the Flash of dominatrices.
Oh my god. Yeah, there's potential there. So maybe I'll hit up Facebook if you guys, watching or experiencing this want to go to Facebook and blow that up like without context, just in your post put I'm gonna and then the thing. So I'll knock your dick in the dirt would be an example, or I'll, what was it? Toss your tits in the trash? I forget now.
I think we're tossing the tits.
All right, tossing or slap.
That's 3 T's.
Yeah, that's
None
the thing.
The other ones have that level of alliteration.
Yeah, so if you are, however you're seeing this right now, get into that Facebook page, contextless, put I'm gonna and your thing. Maybe that'll be my new thing, and I'll sort of swap it out with dick in the dirt. A lazy Susan it. So no bit this week, Andy. I don't
think we have any bits.
Okay, so I guess
like all the assholes were not assholes this week. It was just
not exciting.
Just not assholes. So you're just hearing stories about people overreacting to normal things.
Yeah, it's basically people going, hey, my mom told me that I should give all of my inheritance to my younger sister because she likes ponies. Am I an asshole for not doing it? Like, no.
Yeah, probably not. But that's the thing. If you're gaslit, you will think that.
Unless she needs a pony for medical reasons.
But
I'm medical pony.
Alex, my wife was telling me. So there's also a Reddit called Relationship Advice where people come into, and they ask questions that I'm like, why are you still in that house? Run.
That's the thing.
He's in the house.
You can normalize a lot of zany shit.
Well, basically, this lady came in and she starts asking, hey, I'm pregnant and I don't remember having sex and it could be my medication. But
Unless your
one day I woke up
medication-
and one day I woke up and my vag hurt, and my husband might be having sex with me while I sleep.
Why?
Yeah, that's bad.
On what planet would you think, unless the medication is like ice cubes of sperm that you have to insert into your
Said I had
vagina?
to.
Well, not like the medication makes her like black out when she sleeps. So
So she's not blaming the pregnancy on it. She's just blaming the blackout?
yeah, she's and it
Yes.
also makes her libido lower. And like
Okay.
she confronted the guy and he got really hurt. And then like she has an ultrasound like, oh, we got the date of your pregnancy wrong. It was back here. And she's like, oh, I remember having sex back then. And then she confronts her husband again and apologizes. She's like, well, maybe I did try to have sex with you while you slept, but I couldn't get you wet, you dumb bitch.
Oh,
Why? You were in the clear. You were sailing out of troubled waters. She has come and given you this apology, being like, sorry, date wrong. And he's like, psych, I did, you idiot. And I want a divorce.
I would have gotten away with it too if I hadn't opened my damn mouth.
Yeah, if I literally hadn't confessed to the crime after getting off scot-free. Here's the thing, though. I think if you're a team player in a marriage or whatever, and you start taking something that knocks you out, I say fair game. Like if I had to take a pill,
No.
if I had to take a
Wait a
pill,
sec.
I'm not all fair game. What I'm saying is if I take a pill that kills my libido and knocks me on my ass 18 hours a day, if Krista wants to come and sort of try and get the mechanics to work, I can't hold it against her.
But that's
but you're
your
you're giving
decision right
permission.
now.
I know. I'm saying there is a caveat that should be discussed. I'm not saying it's carte
Sure.
blanche. I'm saying it's something you should definitely bring
Okay,
up.
That's
I'm not saying, hey, if your spouse gets doped up, start grabbing on you're grabbing the groin or whatever. Knock their
Like
tits
my
in the
wife-
trash.
Yeah, my wife will tell me these stories. There was another one she was reading. She's like, "This is wild." Where it's like, I just got engaged to my fiance, and she said that it's a family tradition
oh god,
But I
this
have-
one is so wild.
that I have to take my mother-in-law out for dinner and then probably fuck her.
That's
like
a
the tradition was that
tradition?
before the wedding they had to the husband to be had to take the mother-in-law out on a date and like spend the night in a hotel room or something with them.
So are we either doing some warped form of prima nocta, or like is this some sort of twisted test where if you don't finger bang your mom-in-law, like you get to marry the daughter?
But well, then didn't he like ask like, well, am I expected to like sleep with her? And she's like, I don't know if you wanna.
Yeah, just
You
fuck
know,
her.
one thing will lead to another. Like I can't imagine. Like, oh god, imagine
Like,
having
it also
no. This is weird.
Yeah. Imagine any tradition. Like there was another one she was reading me. It was like, yeah, I'm marrying into an Indian family, and their tradition is to take us to a doctor, and all of his brothers and dad get to make sure that my hymen is intact.
Pardon?
So there are places where that's a thing. So it is weird, but within that,
There are places, but
Right.
I'm pretty sure you only need to see the doctor.
sure. But I'm saying like we can't. They don't exist in a bubble. Like they're like if that were happening here and it was just a bunch of dudes who were enthusiastic, or like it was some twisted like regs ass like yeah we go bowling and then we check each other's hymens. That's weird. But if you are expected to do it culturally, you kind of have to give them at least half a pass, even though it's fucking weird and gross and demeaning.
Yes.
It would be weird if I was like, okay, yo, Alex, before we get married, my bros here need to see your hymen.
Blow up that hymen, bro.
He's an amateur gynecologist.
I'm gonna Instagram this.
Yeah,
Oh, this is blowing up.
Hashtag
Yeah.
hymen, hashtag intact, hashtag
I
get
don't know.
married.
That's the thing. I think there are some cultures out there. This is just an opinion piece. P.S. I think there's some cultures out there that grew up around like normalizing the mistreatment of certain people and or things. And I don't know, like people like giving carte blanche against another type of person is a great place for weird kinks to show up. So I can see where it would be like, you know, we need to have confirmation from a doctor that you're pure. Great. If you're a weirdo, it's
Great.
I need to be in the room with the doctor and check out that bat cave with 8 of my best bros, and we're all going to be drinking natty ice.
I don't
like-
trust that doctor.
It's a slippery slope because
break
you
that
can be like,
hymen.
it's culturally acceptable because the man has to know, and these are my bros, and they brought Doritos, so they got to know too. And plus, I'm going to tell them anyway, so spread that vag. Like, it's a slippery slope of like total domination creeping into weird like sex pervert stuff.
If a doctor's note is good enough for my work or school, it's good enough for you.
Right. If you're, the little like RX pads like intact, signed, ta-da.
Dear fiance's dad, please excuse blank. Her hymen is intact.
Yeah. Like she can use it to get out of gym. I would just keep it and pull it. Like, I got pulled over. Read this. Hymen is intact.
I see.
He's like, oh, you may be on your way.
Oh, go with God.
Go with God. Oh man. So I guess that was a bunch of meandering, but since we've got nothing else on the docket, it's probably time to start shutting this baby down, and we always like to do that with a round of staff recommendations. So nerd. I need to find. Here's what I would love. I would love to have an assistant to schedule things. I would like to have someone over here, a body to play sounds exclusively. I need like 3 or 4 people on staff, and it's just not working right now.
Oh, I was just going to get you like a guy to kidnap Trung.
You just need to start teaching the kid the soundboard.
As soon as he gets the hand-eye coordination, don't you think that he won't be like, this will be 18th century childhood exploitation where he might as well be working in a loom, risking life and limb at that keyboard.
A lot of moving parts on that soundboard.
Yeah, it's.
I said Trung, but he is basically chaos enveloped in a innocent voice and face.
According to him, he has become less of an agent of chaos recently because I think what happened was he tried pulling that bullshit on a large group of college students, and they shouted him down.
Ooh.
So I think now he's more of a team player. I can't remember if I'm remembering that story right or not, but.
Hey, Trung, were you a werewolf? No, but I lied.
There's a lot of hair over here. I don't know. Like, these teeth are long, but are they genetic? Whatever.
Fucking play a werewolf.
Moral of the story is it's time for staff recommendations. So, that being said, do you guys have anything you want to recommend to our listeners?
I've been playing the Avengers game.
I also picked it up.
I've heard that's embroiled in controversy, and I can already look into the future and imagine your guys' reviews of it. But go ahead and tell me anyway.
It's kind of like a Destiny style looter shooter. It's not really a shooter, but like the loot system,
right?
It's a looter
combined with the beat 'em up, where you're the Hulk.
It's a grind fest for whales. But I mean, like I'm talking about personal enjoyment of the game. Is it something that you're like, yes, this is interesting, or are you just doing it because you recognize these characters and are like, it kills time?
I like the single player campaign. It centers around Miss Marvel.
Okay.
And it's interesting, like as she picks up, and the voice acting's really good. Like they got all the major video game voice actors to be in there, basically Troy Baker and
that's what I was going to say about it is the voice acting and like the facial mapping and stuff. Like it's all very well animated.
Yeah,
I'm having fun with it. Like the plot's good.
Yeah, I get that it's the biggest and best that money can buy, but it feels a little sketchy that you can have a complete team decked out in Verizon style costumes. Is that a thing? It's very Mystery Men. It feels very sponsored. Trust me, there's evidence out there for it. It's ridiculous looking. So we're gonna.
And I also like that they're saying that the next heroes are going to be free. Like all the heroes should be free. The thing is that each hero has a season pass, and I think they're going to charge you for that.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as far as that
weird. That's a AAA game blowing people away by giving something free and then charging secretly for it. That's unheard of. But
that's only if you want the costumes. I could just be Hawkeye.
Yeah. Hawkeye? He's not even a mutant. Hawkeye?
They're not going to have any mutants.
Very few of them are mutants.
Well, they're going to have 2 Hawkeyes. They're going to have Clint and Kate Bishop.
Hawkeye. His superpower.
Are you going to be upset if I tell you that the villain is MODOK?
No, I actually kind of like MODOK in a kind of a campy way. But Hawkeye is filler. Hawkeye is the rice on your plate that you need to fill it out to make it not look so empty.
I like Hawkeye. His comics are really good when he's by himself. I mean, if you put him with the rest of Avengers, sure.
Yeah, he gets overshadowed quite a bit, in fact.
Right. That's why you always go Hulk. You idiots. You always
Hulk
go
is fun to play because if you hold his light attack, he will grab dudes, and then you can just hit dudes with other dudes.
You can use dudes as weapons.
Listen, there is no more a cathartic memory in my brain than playing Marvel's Ultimate Alliance and grabbing a dude and beating him to death with his friend.
You can do that in this game.
That, the biggest heartbreak in my history of video gaming was when that game based on the Hulk movie came out like 10 years after Hulk Ultimate Destruction. And the Incredible Hulk compared to Hulk Ultimate Destruction is like living in a mansion, getting, carted everywhere in a Rolls Royce, and then realizing you've lost everything, moving into a studio apartment and driving a Tercel.
My life is a lie.
It was the same, you could recognize it as a human experience, but it was vastly different and not as good.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction was a ton of fun.
There was no like playtime counters back in the day, but I bet I'm into the thousands of hours. Millions of elbows dropped onto old ladies walking across the street with walkers. Millions of helicopters just kicked, punted, just so much fun.
Mr. Hulk, how much we love you.
I'm still looking for a copy of that game, and it's 2020.
Oh, I see. I thought I sent that to you, but I think I sent you that Hulk comic.
Yes, I did get the Hulk comic. Never got the Hulk game. But, that's a little behind the scenes.
GameCube?
Yes, I have a GameCube.
I might have it.
It would fulfill a childhood dream. Or, late teenage dream. Anyway, guys, I am going to recommend a little bit of self-promotion, actually. Go back and listen to and or watch like the paleontologist stuff, especially the ones for the Arizona Museum of Natural History, because it was crazy that they let me do that. And I'm sure only by virtue of them being completely unfamiliar with me. So while it lasts,
If they had known you,
get those episodes, because they were a blast. And if you are local or want to come to Arizona one day, it'll be a great place once everybody's not being thrown into a mass grave. I can't think of anything else. So, all the other bullshit. The Facebook, we're on Twitter. There's merch in the store with all of our logos. Spoiler alert, if you're watching this live, this Friday will be a big release of something that I don't want to spoil yet. So, but
I'll give you a big release.
Know what's happening, guys. Yeah, I guess that's it. Just nobody goes to websites anymore, but all that shit's on the website. So if you ever have any questions or whatever, just go to the website. Whatever. No one's. I'm not forcing you into anything. So, guys, until next week, I'm Dave.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Adam.
Saying I still don't have an outro tagline. See you next week. I'll just
take that.
We have nothing to fear but our girlfriends not wanting the Beaver magazine.
Oh, the Beaver. All right. So the recording has stopped, but we are still live. So now maybe we can interact with the chat because it was blowing up.
Oh, I was watching. It was
I couldn't see it from here.
Kayla and Mata showed up. I'm happy Mata showed up. He says, "Fuck MODOK." We're gonna have some words.
Export as MP3. What are we calling this?
I don't know. Let's throw it to the chat. What do you think we should call this episode? What do we talk about? We were so meandering.
There's lots of phone stuff.
The meandering is the best part of the show, David.
So we could call it Highway Hats. My show.
Highway Hats.
I like that.
I keep saying show, but what I mean is store. We're saving this. So when you guys are watching, or when this comes down the feed, you'll be like, Highway Hats. I already get the reference. I don't know.
Come on down to Highway Hats. We probably have your hat.
Dead derbies.
13.
Or some other kinds of hat.
All the fedoras, but I don't know that you can clean a fedora.
Flat fedoras.
The fallen fedora. The tattered top hat. But we're never going to find a top hat on the freeway. And if we do, it'll be a once in a lifetime thing.
That's going to be a unicorn.
Yeah, that'll be lightning in a bottle. I'm going to keep a glass case empty for the day it happens. And I'm going to put like a Lincoln
some poor
head.
Tap dancer.
Yeah, like a tricorner that somebody threw out of their car.
Yeah, like someone was on their way to a reenactment, or like it was some careless museum lackey or something. Yeah. And it's just like, oh no.
We'll have a whole like Hall of Fame section.
George Washington's hat. But we can't autoclave those because those would probably not survive the cleaning.
Probably not.
I just thought of something. I'd have to look it up. But do you think they have in the South reenactments reimagined?
Well, like fan fiction?
Yeah, like a fan fiction where like, oh no, there's Lincoln. Pow, 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 pow. We got it.
I bet. I'm sure there's been at least like a group of 10 dudes who go out there and do like Civil War versus Star Trek, or maybe it's steampunk Civil War, and they've got like, zap guns or whatever. I'm sure that's happened. The South may be a lot of things.
Jackson came through with his laser beam eyes.
Yeah. Maybe all the northern aggressors are like big robots with chomping teeth and stuff.
They're wearing swastikas.
Oh no,
Just
the
really-
people from the north, the robots powered by Satan.
We're just completely losing track of what the Civil War was. So, Civil War was about when the robots came from space and shot us with their laser guns and steam-powered fart cannons. But we fought back, and somehow
we had to keep the slaves down here because the Northerns were putting them in camps.
Those robots were eating
the
them. We
war
were
of
just
spatial
protecting them.
aggression. I don't know, but that just puts me in mind of that Mr. Show sketch. Have you guys seen that?
And a white man set them free.
No, yeah. So it's the hilarious conversation is like these Star Trek dudes show up in the middle of a fight between these Ren Fair reenactors and these Civil War reenactors, and they pretend like they just beamed in from outer space. It's like, oh, we know these guys; they do it all the time. Hilarious. I love that concept. So yeah, I do think there should be Southern Fried fan fiction of Civil War battles, and I think it's probably foregone that the South will win. So
South will rise again.
that's the thing. The third act will never be a surprise in Southern fan fiction because it will always end in "we did it."
Finally.
What are we talking? Paintball muskets. Yeah, I can see that. But here's the other sucky thing about reenactments is like you get shot once and then you're lying on the ground for 2.5 hours as like
in the heat.
Wearing 9 layers of wool. That's dedication. That's maybe even more than like goth in an Arizona summer dedication.
I mean, we could always do the Nevada Civil War reenactment and go out and pretend to be miners that send silver to Abraham Lincoln.
Yep.
Would that be a very compelling drama? Is it just like it's just a story about some guys who go to the post office?
I mean, there's some fort stuff and Indian massacres and stuff.
And in the final season, we have I can't remember his name. The famous writer wrote Huckleberry Finn. Fuck my
Samuel
Twain.
Clemens.
Mark Twain. Yes, good old Samuel Clemens.
I can always remember Samuel Clemens. I can never remember Mark Twain. I don't know why.
That's the catchier name.
Right. And that's the thing. And it would be, and we all think of it today as like, oh, Mark Twain. That's literally something that you would hear shouted every day on the fucking river. So it would be like as if today, like if I changed my name from Dave to like Main Street Bus Stop, ding. What? And I just wrote books
Mark
like
Twain a phrase for something.
Yeah.
Say what?
It's like a boating thing where they were measuring
Yeah,
depth.
so
Really? I
you
didn't
would
know that.
a twain was something you would put into the river and you would get a mark of the depth.
Huh.
So again, it would be like if I were like, all aboard, where are you going? I'm an Uber driver. Like if I changed my name to how you doing? Give me 5 stars. Like it's such an innocuous reference that like now that nobody gets, but you would have heard literally around him all the time.
Well, and David, that little I'd say Old West Town, but we would the place where you bought all your meteorites.
Yeah, Virginia City.
Yeah.
Like they have a museum where it's like the Mark Twain Museum. He lived here for maybe 6 months and then he moved on. But man,
we've got an even more pathetic one down in Bisbee. The Copper Queen boasts that Teddy Roosevelt may have slept there. May have. We don't have any hard evidence. He kind of references it here or there in letters. But one thing's for sure.
Documented at the time.
Yeah. For some reason, nobody took note. Like not even a bellboy was like, holy shit, is that Teddy Roosevelt? Dear diary. Like we're always
I
finding...
might have saw Teddy Roosevelt today.
Might have. My glasses fell into a puddle, and I could have swore that shape bore a striking resemblance to the
There's
old...
a heavy fog that day, and nobody was quite sure.
He slipped in, and he goes past the bellboy, and he like floats in a fog past the check-in desk and up to his room. And like, oh my God, was that Teddy Roosevelt? Like, I don't know, the fog was just too thick. Well, how did he
I
sign
saw
the
the
card?
faintest hint of a mustache and glasses and teeth.
I say, well, I had to sign the book to sign in. It's just a like a paintball splotch of like buffalo blood back from. There's a thumbprint because he just got back from killing another crazy giant animal.
Last of the Sasquatch.
This hotel might be haunted by Teddy Roosevelt.
Also, yes. Yeah, I did do
Compelling.
a slight paranormal investigation there, consisting of running around every floor with my camera and looking for ghosts. And, it was just an off day for ghosts, I think. Maybe it was Labor Day and they were all down at the river. Not a
yeah.
single, not a creak, not a boo, not a sheeted figure. Nobody tickled me in any weird ways. There were no temperature variations.
All the tickling ghosts.
Yeah, that's number 2 symptom of a ghost is random tickling that you feel with nobody in the room.
Spooky tickling.
It's the scariest of sensations when you're alone. Because what could it be? You could reach back there and it's a fly, or it's a ghost.
Or it's Jerry again.
Or it's Jerry again. You're like, go back in.
Get out of here.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for... Man, Mata is blowing up the stream chat. Thanks for showing up. Enjoying this peek behind the scenes, as it were, maybe. Because I bet if you watch this or listen to this and you listen to the edited show, it'll be like, edited is the way to go. Anyway,
Meandering.
Guys, yep, meandering is the key. And I've got, listen, spoiler alert. So the show I recorded last night with Popeye is almost 3 hours.
Oh, God.
So it fucked up my schedule insanely because I was just like, all right, we'll just do the episode and I'll be able to release it. And I had my schedule all planned out, but we went on forever, and now I've got a dilemma. I've got a schedule that only holds so much, and now I've got more to put in. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, terrible.
Anyway, guys,
well, I guess we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep. Bye, everybody on stream. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Catch you next time.
Bye.
See ya.
Damn. All right.